Azeroth Roundtable, episode 313. It's Friday night. We're having weird technical issues, and guess what? If you're watching the video stream, we might freeze like this.
It's gonna work really well.
I know, it's perfect. Anyways, with me this week, as always, is John Jagger. How's it going, John?
Hello, Ben. It's Friday night here in Azeroth. I'm joining you at the roundtable.
You're sounding so excited tonight, too.
Ben, we had Chipotle recently. Literally just a little bit ago. And despite its best efforts, good Chipotle tried to be bad Chipotle, but it was still good Chipotle.
It did.
And I got home, and like a champion, I sat down on the floor in like kind of a crumpled position and ate Chipotle and watched videos on my iPad. And I have to tell you, I found my happy place, and the show has pulled me from it, and it took all the effort in my body to leave that place. I got there, and it was just like all the weight of the week just like fell on me, and I was just like, oh, I'm not gonna move. And then I looked at the clock, and I was like, I'm gonna move in 5 minutes. But it's Friday. And I'm here.
I'm so glad that you're excited and happy to be here, because there's definitely no way that that level of excitement can be beat by our guests.
Ben, here's the thing about our guests. I adore both of our guests. They bring a passion and a fire to this game that this episode's going to sorely need.
Well, that's right, John, because we are... First of all, graciously being video hosted by and joined by, I don't know how I'm going with this, but anyways, Spencer and Jason, thank you very much for joining us on this really weird and technical, non-savvy episode of Azeroth Roundtable.
Thanks very much for having it. Oh, sorry, I should go. Thanks very much for having us. Based on your last episode, I should be doing something like this through the whole thing.
ASMR roundtable.
I think something's wrong with Spencer's levels.
No, I graciously watched your last episode that you had on, and I wanted to continue the trend because I thought it was a rather amusing way to finish that one off last week.
Yeah, it was weird.
Well, thank you guys for having us back once again. And yeah, we will bring a different type of passion and fire to this episode than John and or his Chipotle brought to each other.
Yeah. Oh, look.
John's got a different kind of fire coming. There's a different kind of fire coming.
Chipotle is bringing fire and passion,
Yeah,
just not when I want it or when I expect it.
It's the ever-burning flame.
That's right.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm going to go ahead and just kick us off tonight with something that it's kind of a question to all of you.
Well, that's good, because that's what the show is.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like you're totally cheating at the game versus other people that you're doing stuff with?
Yeah.
No, I'm bad at it.
Let me give you this example.
Oh, okay. Because I feel like we've answered, but go ahead.
Okay. So it has to do with this most recent raiding content. So, we're running through Dazzalore on my raid team. We're just doing normal because I don't know how many times I have to say that in this show. Friends and family. So anyone who looks down on me, you really suck because what? Be nice. Anyway.
Nobody says anything, but you point it out every time like it's a mark of
Do
shame.
people say that? Well, you know what?
That's because people are like, oh, what level? And I'm like, normal. They're like, oh. My
I'm
heroic
sorry.
team's done this. Or this. Like,
Ben, God damn it, this is our show. You can raid at whatever level
I know,
you want.
and that's what I'm saying. I'm
the people who come here need to accept your level of rating. You don't need to preface this. If they don't like the level you're rating, they can get out.
Yeah, and I'm preemptively saying, hey, my rating is just as important as your rating.
It's fine.
Like,
I don't want to hear what level you raid at anymore, Ben.
Like when people, in my guild got the whole ahead of the curve for beating Jaina and everything, I'm like, sent a couple friends. I'm like, hey, congratulations. Like, oh, it's just normal. I'm like, well, as a normal raider, and that's what we're working for. Congratulations.
Right.
So just throwing that out there. But anyways,
I'm going to take the opposite tack to John. I want to hear about the difficulty that you raid on because I want to support you in it.
Oh, well, thank
So
you.
Feel free to put it out there. And we'll be like, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were
Get
asking
Get
what
those
level
normal
I
kills.
raid at. I was going to say, I don't. It's,
I'm rather indifferent to what level you raid at because I just want to hear about your raid experience. It doesn't really matter regardless.
We've run the whole gamut here.
Yeah.
It's the whole spectrum
Covered
of
the bases.
potential
It's true.
emotions regarding.
So
Ben's
tell
raid
us
experience.
the cheating that you were doing.
Okay.
Ben. Tell us why you're going to get suspended.
Well, no,
Yeah.
I'm not getting technically suspended.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Yeah, I bet a lot of people said that recently, and it turned out not to be true.
That's true. Which, yeah, I had no idea that was going on until I saw a video of it. But anyways, so and anyone on my raid team, stop listening for a little bit. But
Oh, have you started hiding from trash?
no.
'Cause let me tell ya.
It's not exactly that. It's actual game mechanics, but I feel like I'm cheating compared to other raid members. So there's two
Yeah, I know that
fights
feeling.
specifically. There's the Rastakhan fight, and then the go to the two separate boats fight, which we haven't beaten that one yet. That's like
Go to the
we're doing good.
boats.
So on the Rastakhan fight, I have done the going into the death area and also the staying in the alive area.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is insanely more difficult than the other.
There's a little bit more movement in one than the other. Yeah.
A little bit. John, just to give you an idea, the first time we were working on Rastakhan, I went into this death area, and I know you know absolutely nothing about the fights, so I'm making it as simple as
Yeah.
possible.
Sure.
There are these globules that move all over the place, and they're
Globules in rage.
yeah,
Shocking. Go
they're
ahead.
fucking everywhere. And yes,
Okay,
I use
you-
the F word
that was
because
you.
it,
Go ahead.
like-
yeah, we're not on our channel. Use whatever
Yeah.
kind of language.
Oh, I
you
just
want.
realized. I'm sorry, we're not on our channel.
We're fine.
Okay, cool. Well, they are freaking everywhere, and I mean, you guys can back me up. In the death area, they're everywhere.
It's a fairly
Yes.
busy game of dodgeball that's
Mhm.
happening down
Yes.
there. Yes.
So being a monk healer and stuff, it's a little tough for me to actually get heals off because I can't. I have a renew that I can toss like, you know, every like 10, 15 seconds or something like that. Otherwise I'm standing there just getting, you know, globules all over, and that's not a good thing. So we tweaked our strategy. So we have either two druids or a druid and a shaman going in there, and they're just hotting and running and hotting and running, and that's, you know, it works well for what they do and how they heal. So then the priest and I were up in the alive area, and we're just like, you know, chilling and healing, doing everything. You know, we're playing to our strengths, and that's the whole point. But I totally feel like I'm cheating because holy crap, is it so much easier in the alive area. So I'm
I
cheating
mean,
there.
somebody's got to heal the alive area.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
true.
so
Yeah.
it sounds like to
Yeah.
me, without knowing anything about the fight, you made a tactical decision based on your wants and needs and are executing on that. If you want to hear about
Mhm.
cheating in a raid, let me tell you about somebody who watches other people do the fights while he sits back and snacks on stuff
He's
or
Chipotle.
checks Twitter and
has
is
to
like,
lie down on the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
hold on,
Lies down on the floor.
let's see what's going on Twitter right now.
No,
Oh,
John, we're not talking
interesting.
about Civ. Anyways,
Oh, yeah,
so-
no, that's
so-
football. That's if you're watching football.
I'll mention the thing that makes that recently I did that made me feel a little bit like I was cheating at the game, and that's like that this week, and this is a nice tip for those of you out there who are curious about it. I haven't talked about this on TSE yet, so it's exclusive. Anyways,
Oh, exclusive.
there is a current item you can buy with doubloons inside of Island Expeditions that is called the Rabbit Charm,
aw,
and
I
the
like
Rabbit
rabbits.
Charm reduces your aggro radius greatly for 30 minutes inside of a island expedition, and they cost one doubloon. It's just one. That's it. So you buy the 3 people who go into the island buy one of these rabbit charms the moment you go into the island. So the 3 of you have one, and you each use it. So for the next 30 minutes, you have very little aggro, which means you can essentially run out over the island, the 3 of you, and just mine nodes and open chests and not aggro anything. You just walk right up beside mobs. As long as you don't walk over the mobs, you don't aggro them, and you just mine everything, and you essentially finish the island in somewhere between 4 and 8 minutes, and that's a mythic island, and you beat the other.
Holy crap.
Horde. So you'll get 12,000 Azerite and finish the island before they get 5,000.
Okay, question for you though. Since you're not killing anything, do you get any of those extra rewards?
You still get toys and pets and transmog and doubloons.
I'm going
and,
with you. I'm going with you.
Yeah. With the
It's
way
a
the
good deal.
rework is, it doesn't matter what you actually do. It just matters
Yeah.
what lives on the island.
So
Oh,
it's
man.
if you're someone who's like, I don't really like islands, or I've never done a mythic island before, I really want to get those mythic achievements out of the way, this is the week. This is the week where you buy a rabbit charm, you use it, and you run around the island just mining nodes, and you finish the island really quickly. You get your nice little 350 Azerite power, and you get 2 or 3 bags of doubloons. So you know, for spending 1 doubloon, you usually get somewhere between like 8 and 30, depending on what procs at the end, right? That seems to be sort of the range that they have.
They goose that a lot lately too.
Yeah. And then you also get a chance at mounts and pets and toys and
Oh,
stuff.
jeez. Maybe I need to do some island expeditions, because that I can run around and right-click things for days. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that'll run till Tuesday when the reset happens. So you guys have a little bit of time if you're watching live or whatever, if you're listening before this goes out, to pop in there and do that.
I don't. I'm so busy. I'm telling myself I can do this. I can't do this.
It's 4 to 8 minutes. That's, you know.
I don't. Okay.
Maybe
We don't need to get into how busy I am at the
Fair
moment.
enough.
But
Fair enough.
we'll.
You have very important Chipotle on the floor to do. I understand.
I wish I could. You can't. Here's the problem. I had to eat, and then I had to do this. I can't reopen that. That world is gone to me now.
Yeah.
Okay.
That small window of paradise has closed.
Hey John,
Flew a little too close to the sun.
what
I
if
get
you
it,
had some ice cream?
What about
put out the
ice cream?
fires?
Are you?
Could you get back into floor mode with some ice cream?
No, I can't, because the responsibilities that are coming down the pipeline are coming, no matter whether I get ice cream or not at this moment.
What if it was sea salt ice cream?
Well, you know, we'll have to ask all those Kingdom Hearts characters about that.
Okay.
They're the ones who know. Yeah, that sounds like cheating, actually.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Congratulations, you've done it.
That is totally using
no.
game mechanics non-exploitively.
I mean,
No.
that's why they put that item in there.
They put that item in the game
It
for that
exists
exact
for
reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you somehow were able to leave the island with that buff and then apply it in other situations, then that might be a different story. But
All right, I need to know how the potion thing worked, because I heard about it, but I didn't know what
Sure.
they were doing.
So there is a experience potion in the game that costs 5 of the Jason, what's the token called again? 'Cause I'd
Service
ask you what it is.
medals.
Service medals. Thank you.
medals, I believe, maybe medallions. Service
I think
medals.
it's service
we'll call
medals. I
them.
think you're right. So 5 service medals to buy one of these potions. When you purchase them, you can purchase multiples of them, which is perfectly understandable. But if you drank one, you would get a buff that increased your experience gained for 10% for everything around you that you do. But if you try to drink another one from the same bag, it won't let you. But if you split the stack into a different bag, if you take a potion out of that one bag and put it into another one and drank it, you got another buff. Now, by you got another buff, I don't mean it stacked up and there was a ×2. I mean you got another buff, which means you had the same buff and another icon next to it that was the same. And if you keep doing
You got
this,
another instance of the buff. On
exactly,
Your, on your buff
you
frame.
slowly fill your screen with these icons of the instance of this buff, which has no timer on it attached to it, even though it's supposed to have a timer attached to it. There's no visible timer on it. And then you'd go out and just do all of your questing with massive amounts of experience. So the people who were taking advantage of this had to go through some hoops to be able to make this happen. So right off the bat, you're kind of like, this looks and feels sketchy what I'm doing. I'm not really sure. Yeah. That's how it worked.
Yeah, okay. They made
Believe
the
it or
game
not,
fun.
they didn't design the game for you to have 700% XP gain.
But shouldn't they?
Well, I think
That's
that's
a
the
different
big
argument.
question, right? That is, there are many reasons from a business standpoint that they don't want to do that. I wouldn't complain if it was like, you can do this.
Where some people see a bug and exploit, I see somebody cranking the fun meter up to 11.
Well, I mean,
So
oh, go ahead, Spencer.
Well, here's the thing. We
I was-
don't know yet. I mean, we haven't seen anything publicly as to what other actions are being taken. If
Yeah, we
these
don't know if
people are
they're
keeping
rolling stuff back or
tunes,
anything.
Like, if they get to keep the tunes, isn't a little timeout kind of worth it?
Yeah.
The thing that I was going to say there is for me, the reason why this affected me, why would leveling characters affect other people? What's the big deal, right? Well, for me, I, from scratch leveled a High Mountain Tauren to get that heritage armor, and I wanted to have that heritage armor, and I felt a pretty big self of accomplishment for having it. And then, 1,000 people went out and leveled a Tauren in about 3 hours from 0 to max level and got their heritage armor and are rolling around with it. And you're like, well, this is kind of weird. Like, you just removed what was cool and special about the effort I put in to do this, and I didn't get the opportunity to do what you did. So I think in that situation, there is a deserving.
It devalues that reward highly, and that reward is designed as a time sink to keep players engaged in the game. So it's mostly
Sorry, go
like it's mostly like a business model problem, really. Because I mean, if you have to do the work in order to obtain the potions, right? You like have to have a character that has plenty of service medals in order to buy them. So
Yeah.
it's not like you didn't play the game to get to that point. You can't get these potions from via any other means. You have to play the game to acquire the currency to acquire the potions. But yeah, that's not really the way that they want to go with the way that the game works.
And
So
but-
how long have these suspensions been for?
Between 2 and 31 days, depending on how
that's
hard you
the
exploited the exploit.
I give
Yeah.
myself a self-imposed account suspension about about 3 months into every WoW expansion. I just give myself that just for the
Yeah,
heck
yeah.
You're
So
like,
there's-
I am limiting my license.
yeah, I'll just-
Exactly. So there's and the people who receive the maximum end ban did somewhere like upwards of 5 or 6 characters kind of thing. Like they took full in the 2-day window, they leveled many characters from 0 to max level, getting many heritage armors.
Well, look at it this way. I mean, yes, there is the whole idea of, from business standpoints, also the I can't talk. That's what's going on.
Okay.
Also,
Okay. You're in the right place.
rewards kind of being devalued and everything. The real reason that Blizzard doesn't want to see this happen is so that people like Markonnen don't have 50 max level alts to run through the Love Rocket fight every February.
I mean, that's another. I mean, and that's kind of something that got talked about on the Q&A.
All got that was weird.
What happened?
What?
I
You
don't
all right?
know.
Do you need something?
Are we all
Just-
here? Are we okay?
My Discord was like freezing up.
Can
It's
I,
just
can,
locking up.
can I get
Okay,
you
we're good.
anything?
We're good to continue. Make a little note of what time it is. We're good to continue now. We're back.
We don't,
Discord
we
did
don't
had
do
a-
we don't
had
do
a
that
little
kind of editing.
fit.
People will just have to enjoy this
Yeah.
wonderful moment.
Yes.
But we're still back.
We navigated together, but yeah, on last week's Q&A, or was it last week? Yeah, last week I guess it was. They talked about the Demon Hunter restrictions, right? You can still only make one Demon Hunter per realm, and Ian was like, "Well, we're going to keep it that way as long as Demon Hunters start so close to max level because we don't want to, encourage people to make 1,000,000 Demon Hunters, not because they want 1,000,000 Demon Hunters, but because they want 1,000,000 max level characters so they can go farm stuff."
Yeah.
And because that's not actually fun. That's not healthy player behavior. So even though if you got some benefit from it, there's reasons why they don't want you to do that. And I think this conversation kind of fits into that overall philosophy about, I mean, we've kind of lived through different eras of them trying to save players from themselves, right? And I feel like they're pretty lax with that these days in most regards, compared to like, limited attempts per lockout on Wrath of the Lich King raid bosses and stuff,
Yeah.
So it's.
I don't
but
know. Sounds like this potion thing's a big case of the fun police rolling up and arresting a bunch of people, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it is. I'm sure it's really fun to level with 700+% XP gain.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
sounds
doesn't
like a
that sound
blast.
pretty good? Doesn't that sound?
we all
worth
remember
about
what it was
30
like for
days
the-
of your time?
Yeah, the pre-Legion launch event leveling that we all got to experience.
You just like AFK'd in the Barrens.
Westfall,
and
yeah.
you just
yeah, I mean,
boom.
look,
You come back later. You go run out to Chipotle, get a delicious bite to eat. Come back to your desk. You're max level.
Did it?
yeah, I remember the days of refer a friend while wearing heirloom armor, running around together and getting like 3 levels off of 2 kills when you first start off the game. It's like
Aw,
I'm level
so
3
nice.
now.
Yeah, I did it. I killed a bear. I'm the best.
Yeah, it's like I don't like mana worms. Guess what? Boom. Hey,
That's the
boom. Oh my
strongest
god.
man worm that ever existed. I killed.
Yeah, lots of fun stuff like that. But so I have a second instance of cheating over my raid team.
Oh,
man,
okay.
okay,
Wow,
great.
dude,
Some-
you just.
Jeez,
Yeah.
we'll just roll this back.
Yeah.
But I would actually say this would be your first, based on what your original one was.
Oh,
But
well,
go
I
ahead.
mean, that's just having an assignment. Like I assign my co-tank all the easy jobs in raids.
Okay.
I make myself do all the difficult jobs for the most part,
Because you get bored otherwise.
unless there's like a paladin thing. If there's a thing that you're supposed to paladin cheat, he's a paladin, so I make him do that.
right.
So that kind of fits into that category, like you were saying. It's not really,
Well-
it's just you have to play to your strengths in this
I
game.
mean, this is kind of the same thing, but
Okay.
so the boat boss, where you split up. You go to 2 different boats, kill the dudes, or the lady and the dude, and then you go kill the other thing.
Lady and the Dude, favorite Disney movie. Go on.
It's pretty good. The second one sucks, so don't watch it. So apparently, at least for our raid team, it seems like the left boat is way chill and super easier than the right boat.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I get to go to left boat, so it's like I'm in the alive section, and this is like nice and chill, and then I'm on the left boat. And
It's kind of the same thing because you want your healers that need time and space to get casts off on that boat, and you can have more mobile hottie type healers on the right boat.
Mhm.
So it's really the same kind of healer split that you do on Rasta. Really, it's the same idea.
Yeah.
So again, you're making a strategic choice based on your class and your role within the
But it
party.
just-
I don't think you're cheating.
But it
That's
so
just the
feels
game.
like the fact that it's like such a difference. It feels like it though, and that's all I'm saying. It totally feels like it's like, oh, I'm playing easy mode, you know?
It's like when we used to do Spoils of Pandaria, and Tetsemi's group was always the fun, easy group,
Yeah, okay.
and the other group, bunch of humdrums that never got shit done.
I was in that group.
Yeah.
So
But
what
you
you're
know,
saying
so
is,
you know what you were going through. So see, you get this one now.
So what you're saying is that I paid my price.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
just the other side of the
You
coin.
deserve this, Ben. You
Okay.
deserve this.
Well, thank you.
Well, I mean, a
Thank
lot of
you.
what you're talking about is just this is why having diversity in class design is cool in this game. And there's been a lot of talk over the last, 4 or 5 years about ability pruning and losing a lot of these kind of homogenous tools that came in for many different classes and
Mhm.
sort of establishing, more defined class identity in terms of roles and utility and whatnot, because you have this thing that on this fight lets you do this really cool cheese that nobody else can do. And it totally informs the whole way you build the strat for your team. And that's awesome. And if everybody had the same tools, then maybe your organizational life would be easier. You could have like a more generic strat that everybody
Yeah.
does, but you wouldn't have those moments of like, look at what I can do on this fight. Like, check out how this ability works. Look how cool this is because of choices that I made. And I think it's really important to have those moments when possible.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Just like, I fell in love with Ring of Peace like at the beginning of this expansion, and it is great for that Loa fight. Oh
Ring
man,
of Peace is amazing. It's so good now. Ring of Peace has had sort of an inauspicious sort of history with the game so far,
Mhm.
but the first 6 months of BFA, like Ring of Peace is one of the best abilities in the game. It has so many applications. It's awesome.
yeah,
And yeah, you could put it to great use on some of these fights. Yeah, like when you're underneath the bird on the conclave
Oh, yeah.
and the raptors are coming in and you just donk them
I'm
out
just
of
all,
there. It's
thump.
amazing.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. But I gotta say, I miss a little bit of the homogenization at times. Like, as a monk healer, I feel like I'm not really that much of a niche healer anymore. Like, I'm not great at groups, and I'm not great single targets. I'm just kind of
Oh.
I'm just kind of in the middle,
How often do you press Essence Font?
all the time.
Yeah, and you're good. That's all you need to do.
Oh, okay. Yay!
That's the majority of that class. If 80% or 60 to 80% of your healing isn't Essence Font, you're not pressing the button enough.
Okay, I might not be doing it
That's
enough.
That's a large portion of when that is off cooldown. You're pressing Essence Font.
Okay.
I can press a button a lot. Maybe I should be a monk healer.
No,
it's-
totally.
Yeah.
There you go.
Revival healing was reduced greatly. It's not nearly as powerful
Oh, I
as
know.
it used to be.
It is not
but-
a big cooldown heal at all anymore.
Yeah, but Essence Font is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, I'm so glad that Manny's there because he's like, okay, I can trank. I'm like, great. And then next up, it's my turn to do a big cooldown. I'm all, boonk. Nothing. I'm like, come on.
Well,
Just remind everybody that you have Ring of Peace.
the other thing
Yeah.
you'll like about this, John, is you can cast Essence Font while you're moving.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have
Oh,
to
it's
stand
great.
still while you're doing it.
Yeah, so what I'm looking for in a class is I want to be considered bad at fighting trash, so nobody really expects a lot from me. I want to not have to do a lot of moving because that's kind of annoying. I'd prefer maybe 1 or 2 buttons total that I'm pushing at any given time.
I
So
think
basically,
I think you want to be a shaman.
okay, good.
He's made a couple and then deleted them.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you don't want anybody to bring you to anything.
Yeah. And yeah, that's the other thing. I don't want any expectations. I don't want people to be like, "Ugh, we need John," and he's just not showing up.
We do these things called sale runs over in the guild that I'm in, which I think is just ideal for you. It's perfect.
Okay.
You get to show up, and we just give you gear as it drops. You have to contribute nothing to the raid, and you get to witness the kill of every boss.
This is perfect. You found exactly the area I need to be in.
I mean, there's a couple problems for you with this arrangement, but one is the team. It involves the team that you play for, and the other one is that they're called sale runs for a reason. They're not given.
Yeah, because you're on a ship and they're just blowing through everything, right?
It's like
that's
that song.
Right, you're sailing through all of the bosses.
Yeah, that's the
That song
sail
just
run,
goes,
sail run, sail run.
Like that thing. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Oh man,
I got a moose this way.
So did I actually.
I didn't pay for it though. I was invited, which was very nice of them.
Yeah, the moose runs were great back in the day.
Although I will say this. I was still alive at the end of that fight. I fought. I pulled my weight. I didn't do a lot of DPS, but I learned the mechanics, and I was alive at the end. I didn't just watch from the floor.
You know what? That's how I got my Violet Spellwing. And I actually was alive through the whole time. Then when we got killed, I was told specifically to just gather orbs, and that's all I'm supposed to do. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So stayed alive the entire time, helped heal, and then bleh. Is great.
But you contributed a lot to the group by collecting the orbs. I mean, that ends up being a very significant buff. So.
Yeah.
That was the fun thing about that fight in terms of like, oh, my buddy needs ahead of the curve, or we need to sell some ahead of the curves or something. Like, okay, great. When we get to this part, you just stay dead.
Yep.
Don't kill us with anything. You just be dead, but you help us while you're dead.
It's fantastic when Jason's camera just dropped out on me.
He's back.
Coming back.
He'll be back.
All right, he's back.
We'll cut this part out. Don't worry.
Oh, thanks.
It was the old Discord crash. I had a Spencer-esque Discord crash.
Oh, there you go. It's fantastic when we're doing sail runs and we just are doing Jaina or Blockade, which is the 2 boats that you guys are talking about, where we just go jump in the water or right off the top. You're like, okay, you're gonna hit the boss and you're gonna jump in the water. That's your role in this fight. You're gonna help us by doing this because it means there's nothing you can do that will wipe the raid. So I mean, we do them every week, and it's always a fun time. So it's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm also a broke character.
Doing?
I've got nothing. I have nothing to offer to the world of
except
Warcraft.
your wit.
Yep, that's about all I got.
Alliance characters in the Alliance AIE.
Actually, you know what? That is something that I've been working on. It had absolutely nothing to do with AIE actually, creating an alliance guild too.
This is literally the first I've heard about this.
By the way, John,
really?
There's an alliance guild for AIE now. It's on Earthen Ring.
Oh, I thought we just called that CTR and it was on Airy Peak.
Yeah, long story goes into that. I'm not going to go into that part of it. Anyways, so not really a long story, but it has nothing to do with CTR. Anyways,
fair enough.
We're still friends. Anyways, so I've been leveling my character.
Now we think that something happened. Now there's
but
what crazy falling out happened behind the scenes.
There's some darkness here that we're unaware of.
We're not going to get into this right now.
Ben's
but everything's
attempt
fine.
to assure us that was okay made it way worse.
No,
I said it. Everybody was ready to move on, and then Ben's like, "Got to smooth this over," and made everybody way more freaked out than we were.
No, it's just I was under the opinion of we should keep AIE just strictly horde. That's all.
Okay.
I didn't agree with it, but they did it, and whatever. I'm over there leveling the tune. But anyways, I was working on an alliance character anyway, and then that happens. I'm like, okay. The transfer services were cheap, so I'm like, I'll just go ahead and bring my monk over. I've still got my.
You abandoned CTR.
No, because that was an ungilded tune that I was leveling. My mage is still over in CTR.
Okay.
So anyways,
it sounds like excuses to me.
Anyways, I've been
You know,
leveling
in
my
Breaking
alliance
Bad,
line.
when Walter White would have like a way over elaborate like explanation for what happened, and it would make him seem way more guilty.
Hey, John.
Basically, the zone where you're
John.
living in it.
I
Hmm.
am the healer.
I mean, you know, that's cool, but right now, that's not the version of Walter White you are. You're
Yeah,
the
I know.
version that's like, God, what do you know? I spilled gasoline all over myself, and I'm looking around for somebody to see if I can get some help with this
And then
gasoline.
but I couldn't, and
I
there's just
couldn't do
everywhere.
it, and then
So-
the car burned down, and then I made crystal meth. You like you do.
Wait, what was
and,
that about crystal meth, Walt?
honey, it's just the darndest thing. Like, no, please go on. Tell
Oh,
me
but
about
my
it.
cancer. Yeah. That's,
Yeah.
Yep.
My cancer.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of Breaking Bad was how he was always saying that.
Yeah.
Just
Whatever.
like that, with a British accent, only for that particular line.
But yeah, so I've been leveling the alliance team there. I guess that's it. But no,
Congratulations.
Good job.
dude, Dressfire is freaking awesome.
Isn't it?
It
Isn't
is
it?
so
Yeah.
cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
There's
There's
really
also
cool
some-
storylines and real creepy little elements to the
Oh,
questing.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I love that.
I
I
also dug sections of Storm Song too. There's some cool.
Okay.
There's a really big storytelling moment in Storm Song where like you come up on 3 people on a roof and they're all trying to exaggerate their version of the story to each other, and you get to play out all the exaggeration.
Oh, so it's like that
way
one
over the
from
top.
Cataclysm.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
the Badlands thing where
Yeah.
they talk
Okay.
about
Yeah.
punching Deathwing. It's like an updated version of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
because
fantastic.
as soon as I finish Dressfire, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do Tear Guard Sound because the whole like big concept is that even if I'm not gonna play them, I want to have all the allied races unlocked. And so I'm like, okay, gonna do this so I can get the Colterans, and I'm gonna go through do Tear Guard Sound. And it's funny how we were talking about XP just skyrocketing, having 700% and everything. I got to 118 in Drustvar, and that's all I did.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, but that's. I feel like that's exactly what it was
Mm-hmm.
for the Horde side as well. I mean, I feel like I got done with one zone, and it was like, oh, I'm almost done. And then by the time I was done, not even complete with the second zone, I was like, I'm 120,
Mhm.
and now I'm gonna have to convince myself to go through and do a whole zone at max level when this suddenly feels a lot less carrot on a sticky. But that ended up being fine because you didn't really get anything for leveling anyway, so
Mhm.
the carrot on the stick already was a really gnarly looking carrot. It was like, I don't care about this carrot.
Yeah.
The neatest
It
thing
does feel
about-
really bad to just like have to plow through story questing for a particular end, like if you want the allied race unlocks or whatever, when you're not getting that XP. I don't know what it is, but there's just some kind of mental, emotional response that happens where it's like,
Well,
I'm doing story questing but not getting XP, and I don't want this. Like, this is the level up stuff, and I'd rather like actually take longer. I'd rather hit max level closer to the end of having done all that stuff.
And-
Like
Right.
at least the first time through.
In my opinion, it's because the quest rewards, the rewards you get for finishing the quests after in those quest chains just aren't worthwhile
Mhm.
Right.
once you're max level. Most of the time, once you've hit max level, you're not actually the only thing you're gaining from doing the quest is learning about the story, which is a reward in itself. But it's also nice to get a new set of boots while you're along the way. Like, why not, right? Or
Yeah.
get a new hat. Like, that's kind of that you're actually going to wear and is actually kind of neat. And like that to me would be more valuable. And I just find that the quest rewards don't scale high enough once you've hit max level to make it really a rewarding thing.
I could see
I mean,
that.
that's the thing, and I hate to kind of constantly bang this drum on the show, but it's just true, and it was extra noticeable this expansion for me. Thank you for the visual representation of me banging the drum, Ben.
You're welcome.
I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
But I can't believe for a game as big as WoW, where you can do so many things and there's so many things to collect and do, that they still, when it comes to like rewarding people for things, they just seem like, we don't know. We don't know how to make you want to do stuff. It's like your game is about nothing but loot and items and trinkets and toys and mounts and pets and cosmetics and transmog and all these things. How is it you don't know how to get people to do things? Because it feels like when you look at an expansion and the content, and even within just one expansion, like where they go from patch to patch to patch, you just imagine someone in a room going, I don't know how to make anybody do anything. And it's like, well, come on, your game is about giving people stuff. Like, that's how you do it. And the way you convince people to go through a zone when they're already at max level is not, well, you're going to unlock armor that looks exactly like the other armor, but it's got a different tint to it. Are the stats good? No. Okay, well,
Right.
I'm sure people are going to love it. Great.
Says the
you're
guy who
killing
loves
it.
transmog.
I do,
Oh, transmog's
but that's
fantastic.
But 9
Like-
color variations of the same model aren't that exciting.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what's exciting is getting armor that looks different, and not just like, well, I completed one zone and roll of the dice, I picked the zone where the armor looks the coolest first, so now everything else is worse by comparison.
Mhm.
Did you do Trial of Style when it was up last week, John?
I didn't log in last week.
that's okay.
I did log in last week, but well, maybe I didn't.
Did
I
they
don't
have
remember.
new rewards? Because I totally
Yeah, they had
missed
new
it.
armor
Yes.
that came around this
Damn
time
it.
around. So
If you have tokens banked up, though, you can go buy them still.
Oh, I think I
So
might.
if you
I
have
can't remember
tokens
if
lying
I.
around, you can get the new
Okay.
sets. But yeah,
I don't remember if I delete them or not. I have a bad habit of deleting
that
them.
wouldn't be a good thing to do.
I
You
might
should-
have done it in a fit of rage because they didn't give me anything new last time, and I was just like,
I'm-
screw this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have gotten in on the trial of style. Usually people tell me these things. They're like, John, the one thing you like in WoW is going. I'm like, oh, jeez,
I
what
would
year
have,
is it?
but yeah, I totally spaced on it.
I didn't actually do it last week. I just didn't have time. I was doing other stuff in game, and I was like, well, I have enough tokens to buy the plate set, so I don't really care about the other ones.
I enjoyed it. It was fun.
It's great. I mean, it's
I
one of
got
the
in
best
there.
things about the game, I think, in the modern context. It's so much fun, and it's
Mhm.
so asymmetrical. You can just do it with anybody.
Yeah.
As long as you're the same faction, you guys can go have a
And
good time,
I
and it's a great
still
social
think
exercise.
They should mix up the factions for this because there are different armor sets in some instances.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah,
how
and it's
great
not
would
like
it
there's
be?
any like there's the faction pride theme, right? But like it can be two different factions in one instance.
The
and
only
yeah,
thing I
each
could figure
displaying their faction pride in different ways.
is that the Horde's going to vote for the Horde and the Alliance is going to vote for
Yeah.
the Alliance.
well, that's true.
It's
yeah.
called faction pride.
but then
Like,
when
But
they
if
have
you,
the
if you have a pre-made, you should be able to do it in a pre-made somehow. It would be impossible because the game doesn't work that way. But it should be like that.
well, no,
You
because
get, you
the
get
two Alliance
5
will
of
be
your
up together.
friends and then one random horde who gets pulled in, or one random alliance.
I have done enough trial of style to say, oh, I don't know if the voting would be good. To know that that's not a restriction. The voting's already bad. I look at it
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
really? He wore one purple belt and he won the purple one? That's right. That's ridiculous.
Mhm.
What are you looking at? It was silliest. He's just the most nude. That's not silly. Anybody can be nude.
What about the Arathi AI stuff? Did you guys try any of that?
I didn't
either
get a
of you?
chance to. It's been a
Oh,
very
it's
busy
fun. I'm
couple
hoping that comes
weeks.
out. It has been busy, yeah. It was a lot of fun, and the revamps to the zone look fantastic. So, I think the Arathi AI stuff they did was really, really successful.
What is that?
It's the
They
what they had
basically
the
they
AI.
put a mode in the game now that uses the island-based AI, right?
Yeah.
The opposing faction AI, for you to just fight against inside Arathi Basin. So there's PVE Arathi Basin, if you will. You go in,
Oh.
it's Arathi Basin the way you'd normally experience it, except the other team is made up of opposite faction AIs.
Yeah, we
That
talked
sounds-
a little bit
yeah.
about this in our interview at BlizzCon, John.
Well, that's great. I haven't been in the game. I don't know what
I
they're
know
doing in it.
they're actually putting it in. It's live stuff that we talked about and we're super excited for.
I loaded it up once because I was like, how's this work on the computer? Pretty great. Love it.
Mhm,
All right.
mhm.
I've got a billion other things I have to do, so I'm logging out.
Yeah, no, it's really neat. Next time it pops up as a brawl, I think it's definitely worthwhile at least trying one.
If you want to feel like a god in AB after all these years of pitched battles and frustration, and
So okay,
queuing into random BGs,
it's not
and
it's
nobody
not
working
that
as a
easy.
team.
Jason is over exaggerating how
I
easy
mean,
these,
it's
these
pretty
are.
close to that easy. I couldn't queue into 4 random ABs or against players and win them with the quickness and ease that I won the.
Well,
the
I think
PvE
you queued
brawls.
early in the week, Mister
Well,
Jason.
I did one on
because-
Tuesday night, one on Wednesday night, one on Thursday night, and one at some other point over the weekend. So
Well,
I
'cause
did one a day.
When I did them on Sunday, like we were winning by 200 points. Like,
Yeah.
it was
That's pretty
close.
good.
That's what you want out of a bot game. Look, I don't
Yeah.
want WoW to be balanced. I do because I don't want to hear from the people it's not balanced for. But
Yeah.
I want to get into games where it feels like back in the Wild West where they didn't know what was going on and it was like, well, Now everybody's so smart. I like the days where I knew about the websites and a lot of other people didn't. And as a rogue, I would go up and there'd be 3 people there, and I'd kill them all, and I'd be like, "This is amazing." I don't have time to put in that kind of effort, and now everybody, like, it's far more even ground. I'm probably gonna get my butt kicked by 1 person, let alone fighting 3 at once. So, well, yeah, I want some bots to just beat up on and feel good about myself. I want WoW to pick me up, not drop me down.
I like that you can get in. I like that you can get in there, and if you've had a rough bunch of PvP games, you get in there, you win a PvE one, you sort of break that, like, tilt that you have going, and you can sort of end on a good note, or you can get your, that can rally you back up to get back into PvP if you want. And I also like that it's something for players who are afraid of PvP, don't want to get into PvP, to enter essentially a non-toxic environment for it, right? Because
you get all the same like PvP rewards,
Yeah, no one's
conquest for it and all that.
No one's angry at you for messing something up or not taking a flag fast enough. No one's yelling at you for leaving a point. Like it's AI. They all understand. They're just having a good time. So
computers are better. When the AI rises up, I'm on their side.
So, like, the thing
that's the only problem is eventually it will get so smart that it will crush us at AB, and then it will be unplayable.
Well, see, here's the thing that I always kind of worry about when we're talking about like going against the AI and everything is definitely the difficulty level, because if you do like bot matches in Overwatch on medium, all of the enemy team are running in a straight line towards the objective. And if you have like a Torbjorn on your side, they just kill everything because straight line. But then you bump it up to hard, and it's actually a challenge, especially depending on who you're playing with. It's especially if they've only played against the medium AI, because it's like they're not running in a straight line, and I can't just stand here and shoot them all. So I can see where there could be some challenge, and depending on the comp that you get, versus whatever the AI actually ends up being. So is really interesting, and I'm sad that I missed it because I really want to try it out.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll come back around soon. I wouldn't be surprised if they did another week where they did, because normally brawls are every other week is normally how they do it. I wouldn't be surprised if they did one where it was like a brawl and then the AI brawl and then another brawl, like literally just 3 weeks in a row, like as they do that, because they've done that a couple times now when they introduce something new. They just like in the off week they threw a brawl in just to do it. So I was
like when
surprised
the
if that happened.
Cooking Impossible came out.
Yeah, Cooking Impossible is a great example.
Or something. Yeah. It was like 2 out of 3 weeks or 2 out of 4 weeks. But I think Comp Stomp should just be a thing you could do whenever you want to. It should just be a mode. It should be a separate section in the PvP tab. Because
I'm hoping it happens.
Yeah, maybe they eventually program some Warsong Gulch bots or something, and you could put a couple things in there, and you could queue against bots and just practice.
Oh man, it would be like playing Unreal Tournament again for me, where I'd play against bots, but I wouldn't give myself the flashy, I'm going to go capture the flag roll. I just put myself on defense, and I'd just sit there with a sniper rifle. And the bots would come in, and I'd hope my bots would go get the flag, but if they didn't, no biggie. I was on defense. It was all good. I just play that game for hours like that. Like, nowadays you look at it and you're like, but the match isn't ending because nobody can get the flag. And I'm like, who cares? I'm sitting here. I'm shooting the characters. It's all good. I'm just having a good time. That's what this is all about. That's my new thing. You're going to get so sick of hearing me say it. It's just like, it's about fun. That's what video games should be. That's the answer when somebody says, hey, why aren't more people playing Anthem? Because I can't fly for long enough. That's the thing that's fun. You should just let me do it. Don't. Yeah,
eventually I have to stop flying and start shooting, and then it's like this isn't fun anymore.
Right. So, that's my new thing with video games. There's a billion video games out there, and they're so fun and they're so great. So whenever I see a video game that just makes a conscious decision to just be like, well, what if we weren't very fun? That's where I'm going to be like, but what if it was fun? Now I understand, there's a level where you've added all the cheat codes in and you've got all the guns and you're invincible, and now you're like, this is really great for 5 minutes, but maybe not for
That's pretty much when
5
you're at
months.
You've played through the game like 1 or 2 times. You're like, let's just see what happens if I'm a god.
That's where we should be at the end of every expansion. Yeah, honestly, we should be at but what if I hit this trinket and it blows up the continent? What do you think of that? And I feel like that's a goal to reach. We don't have to start there, but I think there is a reasonable level that could be found, and that's just what I'm looking for now in my video games. Is like,
Well,
just let me get in, have a fun experience really quick. If I want to go seek out a challenge, let me go seek out a challenge. But for what I want to do on a day-to-day to get me to log in and have a good time, I just want to feel like whether I played for 5 minutes or whether I played for 2 hours, I want to feel like that was a lot of fun.
you should try the game Division 2.
No.
It is a lot of fun, and
don't
it's exactly what you
want to.
described.
All the bad guys are people. I have a problem with that, Spencer.
Okay, fair enough.
If one of them would just be a lizard for some reason, I'd be 100% more on the Division 2.
You need a zombie version. Okay, fair enough.
They're still technically kind of people.
I just need. It's just when you're fighting dudes, and you're like, all right, well, how much am I going to shoot these dudes? A lot. Okay, why do I have to shoot them a lot? Well, because they're wearing armor. Just like, but they're just people. Like, I don't want to just sit there and fight people. And like, well, this guy you killed in 2 bullets. But this guy took 30 bullets because look, he's got a hat on. Okay.
So like
all
PUBG.
right.
Okay. So okay, can we all just take a second and agree that the best cheat code in any game is what is it? G_lightsaber realistic for Jedi Academy?
Yes, that was the best cheat code of all time.
Because it made your lightsaber like a real lightsaber.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And why
I don't think I ever played Jedi Academy, but that's the same thing in Dark Forces 2, right? Jedi Knight,
Jedi Outcast. Sorry, Jedi Outcast is the good one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. I think that one I did play, and with the realistic lightsaber physics, and you just like walk into somebody and cut them in half, and you're like, "Whoops." That was really cool.
Except for
sometimes
that one
you get
fight,
them just from mouse look. You just look to the right, and your lightsaber.
Except for the one fight where Luke Skywalker is there and he's fighting someone else, and he gets just sliced in half right away. Oops, sorry, Luke.
Yeah, you're like, Luke.
Let me turn it off for this fight. Sorry.
We put on G_saber realistic combat. You're in danger, Luke. You're in danger. Yeah, some of these things just make games better. And Spencer, so yes, I am curious about the Division 2. I don't want to total, but that is my point that I'm bumping into with that game because I've heard good things about it. I'm like, yeah, but all I have to look forward to is getting more versions of realistic guns and fighting realistic enemies, and I just don't want to do that.
I'm on that level with you, John. I can't do the near future militaristic setting. If I'm gonna play a loot shooter, I want to be playing cartoon Mad Max, or I want to be shooting space wizards, and yeah, that's more my speed.
So I've been doing Warframe, is what I've been doing. That's been my reaction to this desire for loot and all of that. And Warframe is exactly like, I mean, first of all, that game is not for everyone, and that game is crazy, and that game is insane. But that game is also the thing I'm talking about, where I feel like constantly the developers were like, yeah, it'd be fun, and somebody would probably go, but that's crazy, and they go, shut up, we're doing it anyway. And I remember when I was telling our Slack channel about it, I was like, yeah, I'm playing a lot of Warframe. And I don't know if he knew it was in here, but Kyle's like, so you started, I'm like, it's got everything. It's the most crazy thing. And he's like, have you snowboarded in it yet? And I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's in here. And then it was in there, and I was like, holy shit, it's got snowboarding in it too. So
it's Final Fantasy VII is what you're saying.
It actually just started life as the Cool Borders sequel, and it got way out of hand.
Yeah, way out of hand.
Okay, what if
you had guns? Okay.
What if you had a crazy mech suit while snowboarding?
What if the crazy mech suit made you feel uncomfortable and question your sexuality? Well, yeah, we should do that too. I don't know how else to describe the Warframes. They're all
that's true. Yeah, no, I agree. Yep.
Okay.
You're good. You're good. That's bang on.
All right.
Yep.
Well, to be fair, the ones from Zone of the Enders are the ones with the true cockpits.
Yeah. Dude, the Zone of the Enders, that was such a weird element. Like, they were cool looking mechs, though. And the games were really fun, like really hidden gems, man, just unsung in how much fun they were to play. And then you'd get to a cinematic, and the robot would land and kind of crouch down, and then you would see where your pilot was sitting, driving the robot, and you're like, this
is
I don't-
uncomfortable.
How did anybody? How did this happen?
Who designed this thing and why?
I mean, well, Yoji Shinkawa designed it, who is a great 2D artist, and he did all the Metal Gear Solid stuff, and there's a lot of cool costume treatments and mech designs in that game.
But
Like, hey, why don't you make a mech shooter? And then it's like, well, okay, where should the pilot sit?
Right, but I mean just like in universe, when you were like, guys, we did it, we built mechs, and someone looked
Yeah.
at it and they went, "What'd you?
Well, see, it's called a cockpit.
Is that where the pilot sits?" Yeah.
Well, I'd like to think there was some sort of misunderstanding where someone used the term cockpit and someone was just a little bit confused as to, like what that
Yeah.
meant, right? And they're
They-
like,
they
okay, well, I guess they put it in the
outsourced it.
groin. That's
Yeah.
fine.
It was like an
I guess
offshore
that's what we
outsourcing
designed.
thing, and there was this weird
Or there's like a
transliteration
translation.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think overall that hurt the growth and future of that franchise, because no matter how much fun the games were, that was just way too
Well, by the end
ridiculous
of
for Western
2,
audiences.
you were essentially a god in a mech,
Mm-hmm.
Well,
which is
I'll
pretty
tell
cool.
you what prevented me from ever getting into that game. Inside joke is the whole thing. I've never played Zone of the Enders. I never will play Zone of the Enders. And it's not because I don't want to. It's all because of a running joke that I refuse to let die, which
Mhm.
is Ben has been trying to get me to play that game since it came out originally.
2001 or 2.
Yeah.
2000
Yep.
That's
Ben-
about right.
Ben has been recommending it since then, and as a joke, I have been blowing him off on it since then.
You
I've
just
made
can't-
it
you
very
can't
clear
ever-
that I have
yeah.
no intention to ever
You
play it.
can't. You just can't. I mean, it's a shame that you can't, because they are fun games, and the HD remasters of them came out a couple years ago, so you could.
Oh,
actually
and
play
I've
them
got
a
it on
modern
the
TV.
360.
Like, yeah, like it wouldn't be like painful to look at, but you can't let that running gag die. That's not. No game is worth that. The satisfaction
for
you
so
must feel
long.
inside.
Right. Well, okay, I'll give you an example. This is what happens when the what's the saying? The immovable force or unstoppable force meets the immovable object.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this happened not with Ben, but with another friend of mine. He was over. I had gone and picked him up and brought him over to my place. We'd hung out for a while. He wasn't feeling very good, so I had gotten out some like throat lozenges or whatever, and I gave him more than he needed. And he was like, "Oh, I'll take one." And he took the other one and threw it at me, and it hit my chest and landed on the floor. And I said, "Pick it up." And he goes, "No." And I said, "Good luck getting home." And he said, "I'll walk." And at 2 a.m, I made him walk home because I refused to give in and let him, I was like, no, if he's not going to pick it up, he can walk home. He was sick.
Well, I mean, you suppressed his symptoms for him at least.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
what were we talking about before we started recording tonight? We're talking about displaying dominance
Yeah.
and the importance of that in the animal kingdom.
Okay, sure. Yeah, let's just go with that. That's fine. Yeah.
That's what the whole pre-show was about.
Yeah, that was.
So,
Oh
yeah.
my!
I'm not kidding. That mint sat on my floor for weeks. And the only reason it got picked up is because I took it to work and put it on his desk.
Ah.
Wow.
All right. So now I mean, it confirmed who I thought it was,
Yeah,
and that it was here and not a different city.
Oh yeah, it wasn't like I made him
Yeah.
walk to another city.
No,
or
no, no, no,
anything.
no, no.
Like, oh,
No, I
okay.
meant like, was he sick and it was a night in Flagstaff? or
Oh
something?
no! I mean, it was winter here, and it was
well,
like
that's
2
nothing.
a.m. on like a foggy. He shouldn't have been out in it. He was sick.
Yeah.
But if he's all he had to do was pick it up off the ground. That's the only thing he had to do. He would have had a ride home. He opted not to. He could walk home.
That's absolutely great.
Yeah, it was. I didn't even talk to him until I think the next day. I think I was just like, nah, if he got murdered on the way home, that's his fault. He should have picked it.
Well, I
picked up
mean,
the thing.
I mean, life is all about choices. So.
there is Hockey Pads guy. You got to watch out for him.
Yeah, there is a guy who hangs around my apartment just wearing a hockey mask. So and
Has he ever
pads.
been confronted by Christian Bale Batman?
I hope so. That's what I want to
It
say.
seems
to
like
him.
he's tempting fate with that behavior.
You know,
Yeah, just I'm not the one wearing hockey pads.
because of how into his roles Christian Bale actually gets, do you think he ever just kind of like snaps into them just when he's out and about and just like starts
That may have
trying
been
to fight
for
crime or
that
something?
role. Yeah, it's just he was just going around discouraging vigilantes.
Either that
Yeah,
or he's
in
just
his
talking.
own-
Oh, he just talks like this all the time.
I want to think that he went to a hockey game and they were just like, somebody just came up to meet him and they were just like, "Oh, Mr. Bale, it's so great for you to be here." He just grabbed him and was like, "I'm not the one wearing hockey pants." We're like, okay, geez,
Yes,
he
that-
is intense.
That's
Certainly,
right,
Mr. Bale.
Mr. Bale. I'm
All
sorry.
right. I didn't know. Surely, if I knew this was a problem, I wouldn't have worn this in front of you. But I question why you came to a hockey game like this.
Swear to me.
The clowns are the doctors. Okay. I don't know what that means. The movie hasn't come out yet, but it sounds like it's going to be a real winner.
All right. Well, hey guys, thank you very much for joining us on this episode of Azeroth Roundtable.
All right, sure.
Great. Ended really on topic on this one.
Don't we always? That's how that works. But seriously, it's always a pleasure talking to you guys, and thank you for letting us borrow your channel for the night to stream it. Because, yeah, what's up with that? But anyways,
Huh.
yeah, you're awesome.
Who
That's
knows?
all.
Well, thank you guys for having us. Always a pleasure. It's one of the big perks of being in this crazy hobby that we share together is being able to collaborate and do stuff like this. And always a pleasure and a privilege to spend some time with you guys and talk about WoW and WoW adjacent things. So thank you so much for the invite, as always.
Yes, I always miss having good conversations with both of you. And John, I also miss doing gaming with you every now and then. I know, Ben, we haven't explored gaming that much together, but it'd be nice to do it sometime. So
Definitely.
maybe with your Alliance tune that you're working on now. we
We'll
can
do
put
some
something
island
along.
expeditions
Have
for
you
4
tried
minutes.
Zone of the Enders?
It's a great game.
I have not tried Zone of the Enders.
All right. Well, you two can get into that.
You know, I
Okay.
might just have to stream those at some point.
Okay.
It's a good.
That would
game.
be great,
It's a
especially
really
if you
good
could get a
game.
lot of people in chat who don't know what we're talking about with where the pilot sits.
Exactly.
If where the pilot sits doesn't make any sense to you as you listen to this episode, if you see Ben tweet that he's going to be streaming Zone of the Enders, you tune into that stream.
And it's really bad in the first game. You're a kid. But anyways, and until next time we have you guys on, Jason, where can people find you?
The best place to find me on the internet is on twitter.com. You can find me over there at Shieldwald, always talking whatever I'm doing and whatever I'm up to in and around World of Warcraft and other things. And you can also find me streaming over on twitch.tv/Shieldwald, streaming WoW raids and Keystone dungeons and whatever else I'm doing. So check that stuff out.
All right. And Spencer, what about you? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Tuesday nights doing the Starting Zone podcast here on this channel where we are now. No, the Starting Zone has a website called thestartingzone.com. You can find it anywhere on any of your podcast platforms, and we talk about World of Warcraft and things that happen in and around the game, and do sort of a news-focused kind of snappy show, which is why we love coming on your show, because we can sort of have a little bit more free chat and discuss things like Zone of the Enders,
Yeah.
and Division 2 and whatever, and it's just fun, which I dig. So thank you for that. And if you're looking for me on Twitter, you can find me at Spencer_Downey or on Twitch at twitch.tv/SpencerHD. The Starting Zone does Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/SpazBot Studios.
Very cool. John,
Hi.
so you and I, we've done a show together a couple times and everything. You'd think that I would know where I can find you anytime I need,
Sure.
but I don't.
Oh, well, let me tell you, Ben. Hi, everybody. John here. Just gonna slow things down a little bit here at the end. Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
I was talking to the audience, but hey, Ben, how's it going?
I'm good.
Hey, if you want to hear more from me, follow me on Twitter at John_Jagger. That's where I will be. I also do a show called Core.
Gore!
Oh, I was like, it's not going to happen. Like, we stopped talking about Heroes of the Storm. People stop yelling Core, I guess.
Sorry, try it again. Try it again.
Okay, hold on. Rewind it. We'll edit that. Just like the stuff Spencer wants us to edit. We'll edit it all. So I do a video game show called Core.
Core!
Oh, jeez, great. That's a show where we talk about video games, part of the Frog Pants Network. You can find out more about that at heroesforyou.com. Sure, that probably still works. Hey, we also play Dungeons and Dragons on a show called There Will Be Dungeons. It has been on we're taking a little break from the campaign proper. We ended year 1. We're moving into year 2. And as part of that break, while Bo gets all ready to go for year 2, we are going for the next 2 weeks to be doing a double shot, is what we've decided to call it, because it sounds like coffee. And that is going to be a little mini game that I am DMing. Bo will be playing in. It's going to be really good. I know all the characters. Mostly done writing the campaign, which I'm going to be doing the rest tonight. And I'm really looking forward to. So that'll be tomorrow and next week on Saturday. And then after that, the plan is to go right back into year 2 of There Will Be Dungeons. So that's a lot of fun too. If that sounds like that's up your alley, therewillbedungeons.com is where you go for that. Benjamin.
Yes, John.
We find ourselves at the end of the show, my friend.
It is the end.
Well,
as you say.
Why don't you tell people where they can find you, and then we will look for you there.
Okay.
Great.
The best place to find me is on Twitter. I am at Ben the May. No, I am at Ben Bumhofer.
He changed it on himself.
I've only been saying it for like 200 episodes. You think I know what I was doing? But yeah, at Ben Bumhofer. It's my name. Another place to use my name is on Twitch. That's right, twitch.tv/Ben Bumhofer. You can watch me stream when my when my router doesn't just randomly die on me. But I've been playing The Last of Us, and God, that game is good. I'll be playing more of it soon. Also, it has been decided what the next game for Ben vs. Never is going to be. That was ordered. And Nevermore and I are going to be playing Yoshi's Crafted World together. Which, anytime you have a 2-player on the screen at the same time when we're fighting over who's doing what, it's going to be fun. Or we're just going to have
to
fun.
check that out. I can't wait to play that game. And
Oh, it looks
that
so
seems
great.
like a really fun game to stream as like a co-op or sort of antagonistic co-op thing.
Exactly. And that's what we're going for. One or the other. Yeah. There is also another podcast coming. But once we have more info on it, I'll let you know. But Ludra and I have been working on something, so we're coming back, baby.
Oh, it's a pet show.
It's not a pet show.
Oh.
It's a mount show.
It's not a mount show.
It's a toy box show.
It's not about toys.
It's about World of Warcraft.
Maybe bits of it.
It's a Dungeons and Dragons live play show.
Probably not. But anyways, we're going to stop guessing because you could go on for a really long time. But anyways, once we have more to announce, I will let you know. But other than that, I do a little show called Azeroth Roundtable, which is
I've heard of
this show. And in fact, if you want to know more about this show, you can find us on Twitter. We are at AzerothRT. Every Friday night, we usually stream at twitch.tv/AzerothRT. Not this week because of reasons.
Yeah, we're going to figure it out. We're going to find out why streaming no longer works for me.
Exactly. Other than that, though, if you like this episode and want to hear more, you can always go to AzerothRoundtable.com and find all of our episodes, as well as on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all those other places. And of course, if you want to talk to us about the show, you can send those emails to AzerothRoundtable@gmail.com.
All right. Well, hey, everybody. I'm not the one wearing hockey pads. You are. This show was made possible by people who go to patreon.com/AzerothRT and help support it. They aren't the clowns. They're the doctors. And we want to give them a special thank you. So a thank you to all of them, really. But a special thank you to the Murloc Club. That's Brandon O, Caleb M, Jesse O, Jim G, Haster, Sash, who also put in their name Kitty Dreams. And I always read what people put in their names. So as long as it's, not completely offensive, that's a good way to get me to say stuff. Update your name in Patreon, I guess. And Aaron, hey, you're all part of the Murloc Club. We like you for it. And now Ben's going to make a sound. Yeah, that's it. So we've now lived long enough to see ourselves become the villain, and we're going to call it there. Usually I don't do this part of the show. I've really stepped into uncharted territory.
Yeah, well, John, let's just put it this way. Azeroth Roundtable is not the podcast they deserve. Unfortunately, it's the one they got. So everybody,
that was the quote.
Thank you very much for joining us, chat room. You guys are awesome. Again, Jason, Spencer, you guys are always fantastic to talk to. John, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
And everybody else, be good to each other.
Buxley available in Premium Edition. Buxley here to answer your World of Warcraft questions in this edition of Ask Buxley. This is another question about portals. I must have gotten 77 questions about portals. I got a lot of, Buxley, where did the portals go? Buxley, what happened to the portals? Buxley, why does this weird computer talk to me about aperture science? I have no idea what that last one means, but I'll tell you what happened to the portals. The mages got tired. And your next question is probably, what do you mean the mages got tired? Did you pay attention to those old portals? I know some of them were self-serve, but a lot of them had two mages with their arms up casting right next to the portals. 24 hours a day. And I don't know about you, but I get tired holding my arms up for casting for just a few hours in a dungeon, so I can't even imagine what it's like to do it for 24 hours a day. These mages got very tired, and two of them fell through their own portal into another zone. Oh, and you never want to do that. That'll put you not only in another dimension of sight and sound, but of mind. It's a journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. Your next stop, the Twilight Highlands zone. So in an effort to keep all the mages from ending up in the Twilight Highlands, the towns that employed these mages gave them all early retirement and hired a new set of mages. And the new mages, since they saw what happened in the last group, insisted on getting time off, fewer portals, and to be on rotation so none of them would ever get their arms that tired ever again. Thanks for your questions! If you have a question you'd like me to answer, as long as it's not about portals, send email to askbuxley@gmail.com. I'm still not going through one of those things.
Innocuous minigame hides shocking secret agenda. It's the Overly Dramatic News. I'm Hunts the Wind. Tortolans as a whole seem to be one of the most benign intelligent races in Azeroth. A bit cranky at times and prone to droning on with long stories, but otherwise harmless. But an exclusive undercover investigation by the ODN stealth reporting team has revealed there is much more to these reptiles than meets the eye. It turns out there exists a devious sect within the Tortolan community that fervently believes that the now reincarnated Torga is the one true deity, and that all the other spirits worshipped in Zandalar are false gods that must be done away with. This sect has been plotting a very long-term strategy on multiple fronts, manipulating the enemies of King Rastakhan to kill Shadra, the Blood Trolls to kill Razan, and even the Horde to kill Hirik. This cult has sought to subtly turn all other Tortolan against the spirits they consider to be enemies. The strategy seems to be kill those they can and manipulate the populace to drive the others out. Thus we come to the most insidious of the cult's plots, the subversion of children's lessons in games to suit their agenda. Our investigative team has discovered that the amusing game of guiding a young Tortolan through a maze is actually conditioning children to expel the cult's enemies, such as Gonk, Paku, and Kimbrel. How does the team know this? Because their translation of the Torga cult's writings reveals the true name of the supposedly innocuous game, Make Loa Go. Broadcasting across all Azeroth, I'm Hunts the Wind. Check out the archives at overlydramaticnews.com or follow me on Twitter at Hunts the Wind.
This podcast recorded before a live internet audience. To learn how to listen and watch live, visit tunein.alphageekradio.com.
Azeroth Roundtable is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, Non-Derivative, Unported license. For more information, go to creativecommons.org.